Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight on Earth Station Trek. This is a show where we trek through the whole history of Star Trek from the beginning on NBC up through the future on Paramount Plus and everything in between. My name is R. Alan Seiler, and with me is my good buddy Keith Johnson.
What's up, guys? Matt and Elaine, can't wait to review Discovery in 20 years with you.
By then, it'll be as old as Enterprise is now.
Yeah.
And Chuck and Veronica are on an away mission this week. They are Star Trekking across the universe. So in their place, we are very fortunately joined by Matt and Elaine Sweatman. How are you? How are y'all tonight?
Very good.
I'll be Captain Jellicoe to Charles's Captain Picard this episode.
Okay, that sounds good. And before we get into our main topic for the night, Keith, hit us up with some Star Trek history.
I didn't do any history tonight because we were doing the show. I didn't want to take away from the guys.
I enjoyed those moments.
Keith,
thank you for saying that.
Yes.
You have let Matt down.
I'll live.
I know. Well, all right then. So our topic tonight is a review of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 6, because the two of you have been on a journey through all of Star Trek sequentially, season by season, and you have just completed your first watch through of Season 6. Now, Matt, you have seen this before, and Elaine, this is your first time. So first of all, let's start out by just saying what your overall impressions are of this season. What did you think of Season 6?
It was a solid season. I don't really think there were any like really big clunkers. There may be a few that were kind of like, it's an episode, but not, not anything I was jumping up and down about, but there wasn't anything that I was like, oh, that was horrible. So it was a solid season.
Okay. Matt, what about you?
Yeah.
Well, most of the seasons have held up pretty well, in my opinion. Season 5, actually, I increased my appreciation during this walkthrough, where I watched through. But oddly enough, I think, in my opinion, Season 6 may have dropped a little bit on this watch through.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's horrible, but they seem like the good episodes were a little further between than in other seasons. This wasn't as solid, and it felt like a slog at times. And that's the first time I seen this watch through. I felt that way.
That's really interesting.
What's interesting to your point about it feeling like, few spaces between the good ones. This season has 3 considered iconic episodes from the entire franchise, not just the series, but the franchise. Of course, I'm talking about Relics, Tapestry, and Chain of Command. And I mean, those are they come up. They're always considered the best of the best, but it's interesting that the rest of the season didn't wow you, which I can see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are a few like Aquiel who nobody cares about that, but otherwise, I really find this to be a great season, and there are a lot of episodes this season that are on my favorites list. So it's interesting to see, how the range of opinions on these things.
Yeah.
So I want to start off with the very first episode, Time's Arrow, because it's a part 2, as we, as is our pattern for Next Generation in this era. And it continues on from the conclusion of Season 5. And this is the Mark Twain going back in time, finding Data's head in San Francisco and all that stuff. How do you feel that part 2 resolved that storyline? Did it meet your expectations? Was it a satisfying continuation?
I enjoyed it. I don't know that I had any expectation necessarily. I mean, of course, I do want to preface this that we watched this episode back in June, so it's been several months since I've seen it.
No excuse.
No, but I mean, I kind of like the time travel-y episodes, or the so so I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it. So,
All right.
Yeah, I felt unlike the previous two cliffhangers, it didn't feel earth-shattering or universe redefining
Right.
as the last
Yeah.
two did.
Yeah.
Which might be a good thing in a way, because the show could tell smaller, even a cliffhanger could be based on a smaller idea. And it's great seeing Guinan and Samuel Clemens and 19th century San Francisco. I love that bit, and that's the highlight of this two-parter for me. So it's fun. It's not what I call must see. I mean, if you make a list of say 20 Next Generation episodes somebody must see, you could skip this two-parter. But at the same time, I liked it. I think for this, I'm glad they didn't. I didn't care too much for the alien side of it, which I guess was the main story, if you will. But I think ultimately that wasn't the point. The point was just having hijinks in 19th century San Francisco, and for that it does well.
yeah.
Yeah. Keith, what is your memory of that one?
It's ironic. This season begins and ends with shows that I don't love. I don't dislike them. I think they're just okay. Mark Twain, after a while, kind of got on my nerves, only because he kept doing this thing like this, and he sounds like the guy, for those who are old enough, goes with a name like Smuckers, it has to be good.
I understood that reference.
I think interesting. Y'all said something interesting about the time travel. I think these episodes are good for the bits that I like, not the overall, like you said, Elaine and Matt. I don't really care about the alien invasion story, because I kind of get to the point of sometimes when people have some incredibly vast technology and they have to like go all the way across known creation to this one little planet, like, dude, there's nobody close to you can get this energy from. But it has amazing things. Like, I'm going back to the first part, the whole concept of Data, for someone who's human and mortal, the whole concept of Data finding comfort in dying because it doesn't make him separate from other people. The way Data handles his death, if any of us found our head in a cave from 500 years, whatever, we freak out. I love that. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like a gimmick with the whole Picard Guinan thing. I love the silent scene at the end when he walks into 10 Forward and she has that smile and he has that smile. That is wonderful. I mean, and she's known this all this time. Can you imagine that? That's great.
I know.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. No, she has known this all this time.
Yes.
But spoilers, she couldn't say anything. So yeah.
For almost 500 years, she has known that she's going to end up on the Starship Enterprise and get almost killed, and this dude's going to have to save her. That's wild.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm waiting for. I mean, I think it was a really great moment, that reveal that she has known Picard for so much of her life. Yeah. Even though he didn't know about that. I'm waiting for the reveal that she and Pelia used to hang out together because they were on Earth at the same time.
Yes.
Oh, how have they not made a reference to that yet? But it's coming. I can feel it.
And what I like too is not to cross the streams, but the Guinan appearance in Picard felt forced. This one makes sense because they set it up already in the show, and they're completing what they set up when they created the character, I guess. So it didn't feel forced; it felt absolutely natural, and I love that about it. And as you guys said, there were some fun bits that were goofy, the whole play stuff and all that kind of jazz. It was fine.
Are you kidding? I love that. I love it. And that's why when Picard was on the air and we were reviewing seasons 1, 2, and 3, I was always talking about, we're going to be watching Star Trek Mr. Pickard.
And I was complaining about Mark Twain, but I guess if anybody from that time could get adjusted to time travel quickly, it would be the guy who wrote A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. So, I guess he would probably be less freaked out than a lot of people from that time.
Yeah.
Right. I also love that scene with he and Deanna where he's learning about what the future is, and he's like, might even be worth giving up cigars for. But I think I'm in the minority that I really love this one. And I think of the season ending part 1s and the part 2s the following season, I think this one is the most consistent story. Because a lot of them, like especially Best of Both Worlds, they wrote part 1, went away, did not have any idea what they were going to do for part 2, came back to, start the writing sessions for the next season.
Right.
And then they had to figure out, well, how are we going to get out of this?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's a little bit of inconsistency in a lot of the 2-parters where the second part, where it's an amazing setup, and part 2, does its job of completing the story, but isn't always as great.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think this one, even though it may not be a story that's on the same level as Best of Both Worlds, I think parts 1 and 2 match more closely. I think they're more consistent, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I do remember with Best of Both Worlds, the second part was sort of like a letdown, because you're going to this big, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Kind of like the second part was just sort of. This one, you could watch them back to back, and it could just be one big long episode. Like it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a little bit of a cliffhanger, but it was just more story.
Yeah.
It continued on. It makes
But
sense. Yeah,
you're right. It was a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
It wasn't a big, massive moment like
Right.
Best of Both Worlds, where that was like mind blowing. And this one it was nice, but it feels like a mid-season 2-parter, and we have a couple of those this year in season 6, where it just feels like when you watch them together, it's just a continuation from one week to the next week.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a question I have for you guys, is something I've always felt, and it's not just me, other people say this too. One of the things that frustrates me about long-running series like this, which is what it is the characters who don't get major treatment get it toward the end of the show. And sometimes, even if it is or not, they feel like an afterthought. It's kind of like, we need to do an episode. Here you go, LeVar Aquiel. As Alan said, nobody clamors for that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or somebody else suddenly has a mama that just shows up, or like, what? Or a brother. Now you thought of that? So some of the episodes, I'm not even saying it's fatigue, but it's like, oh, we've done so much on Picard and Data and more. Let's get to the other folks now. Let's give them something.
But I think they did well with Deanna for that reason. But at least they did good episodes for her this year.
Oh,
that's true.
Yes, they did, buddy.
That's true.
Holy moly. We're going to get into that. But, when you're talking about what Keith is just saying, when you do these character-focused episodes, and when Deanna gets something like Face of the Enemy, and then Data gets a Western Saloon episode, which is cute.
Right.
But you're kind of like, we've done a lot of Data episodes.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that episode has a lot of fun moments in it. But, it's like Aquiel. Nobody really thinks about it that much.
It's like a Strange New Worlds episode is what the Fistful of Datas is.
It really is, except that it's one of 26 instead of one of 10.
Ooh,
Exactly.
That's
Like
a huge difference.
Like Horseshack. Ooh. I got to give you this one fact that I just found out listening to the Delta Flyers with Robert Duncan McNeil and Garrett Wong. Their guest on the episode I'm listening to is Robert Hewitt Wolf.
Very
writer
nice.
par excellence. Robert Hewitt Wolf pitched shows for the TNG folks back when they used to have the open door policy 3 times. They rejected him 2 times. He did his last pitch. He's like, I don't get this. I'm never going to work again. He pitched the show to them and they loved it, but they said, this is an awesome episode idea, but we're already doing one. What did he pitch? He pitched Deep Space Nine time. What is it? My God, when they go back in time to past tense, the 2-parter. Where they go back in time to the world that is frankly like our world now. What was the show they had already settled on that they couldn't, the reason why they couldn't use his pitch? Times Arrow. They were writing Times Arrow, and they told Robert Hewitt Wolf, we can't use your episode. What is the show that they took when they said, well, we can't use your pitch for the time travel. We'll try that later. His first script for Star Trek was A Fistful of Datas.
Well, as long as you get in the door, it doesn't matter what with.
And Alan, to what you said, Robert Hewitt Wolf goes, can you believe that? And he was kind of like, that was my first sold script. Even he didn't think it was great. He's like, it was fine.
But sometimes, I mean, when you're doing a 26 episode season, sometimes when you're getting toward the second half of a season, you got to take what you can. If it's a script and it works, it doesn't matter if it's a classic or not. Sometimes you just have to fill a spot.
Right.
So he may have just been, Yeah, he may have just been submitting at the right time with that one.
That's true. He was.
Where they're like, A, it's data. We haven't had a data episode in a few weeks. B,
That was it.
we need something to fill this time. Maybe that could be it.
And the funny thing was, he even pitched the fact that he should get out of the game, which is now kind of cliche. He had to get out of the holodeck by playing the game, and he even suggested in the pitch, he goes, and what if everybody turns to Data and he has to kiss Data at the end to get out of the thing? So he pitched that, and they're like, this is great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about season, I forgot to change our layout on our screen. So since we're talking about season 6 of TNG, we're gonna go boom. There's the bridge of the Enterprise.
Wow,
oh
that's
yeah,
an
dog.
interesting angle. I forget how big that bridge is.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about the rest of the season. And Matt and Elaine, what are some of your standouts this year?
You go ahead, Matt. I got to get my list out from under.
You got to get her notes together.
Well, the cat is laying on him, and there we go. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, our buddy Wayne is watching, and he says, "Hi, cat."
Hi, cat.
Hey.
Yeah. He was in the shot just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Because you guys had Realm of Fear and Man of the People and Relics coming after Time's Arrow.
Yeah. Man of the People. Oh my goodness.
I wrote, I don't really remember this one for Man of the People.
I'm finding it easier to pick out later episodes, and partly because I enjoyed more of the later half of the season than the first half, partially. Q, of course, we think of the big ones, Tapestry and Relic, certainly. But God, I know I'm jumping all the way to the end, but Second Chances is one that I really liked. We just saw.
Okay.
I like Jonathan Frakes' portrayal of Riker. He did a great job of playing him very differently.
Yes.
Riker with different experiences. He looked younger. He acted younger, even though he would technically be the same age, but without all the experiences that Commander Riker had been through.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Jonathan Frakes I think we underestimate him as an actor sometime, and I think this is a good example of just how talented he is.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. And one of the ones later in the season that I don't want us to get into yet, I want to save for later in our show, Frame of Mind, I think is a great, it's a Riker episode, but I think it's a great Frakes episode. I think he is just magnificent in that show.
Yeah.
That is one that when watching it, I was like really confused. I'm like, I don't know. Like I was like, what is going? Wait a minute, is this a dream? Wait, where is he now? How? Wait, he's back in a play. Wait, so I was really confused for a lot of it, but I think it was supposed to be. And I didn't like it. But then the more I think about it, I'm kind of like, okay, after you see the whole thing, you're able to go, oh, I get it all now. I appreciate it a lot more. Watching it though was really trippy because I was like, I'm so confused.
Yes.
But Jonathan Frakes is so good at losing his mind.
Yeah,
like acting like he's losing his mind. I mean, he did that very well.
Yeah. And Elaine, Man of the People is the one where that ambassador dumped his negative emotions into Troy. And she got older and turned crazy, jealous, and all that weird stuff.
I read that description, and I'm kind of like, okay, I still.
But kind of Bride of Frankenstein-ish. Deanna is oddly sexy to me. I don't know why. But...
I mean, come on.
But otherwise, freaking old,
So one of the other ones that you mentioned is Relics. So let's talk about that one.
That's early in the season. Yes.
Yes, it is. Like fourth episode, I think.
Yeah. Scotty.
Yeah.
Scotty.
The show has gotten comfortable with bringing original series characters in. And before, they always were reluctant to do that, other than a brief cameo by an admiral who everybody knew was McCoy. And the kind of it really took the unification and the show's 25th anniversary and trying to tie together that the show felt comfortable referencing and including more of the characters. And it's contrived, but it's a lot of fun. And I like it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's
How much-
contrived, but it is. I mean, when you're contrived, but you do it that well, I think it's forgivable.
Yeah.
Yes,
How about
I
you,
agree.
Elaine? Did you like that one?
Yeah, I did, because I liked his sort of fish out of water. I mean, this is his ship. He knows Enterprise, but it changed so much. And, like he's trying to be in engineering, and Geordie's like, old man, move. You're in my way. And so he's like, he's not where he thought he was, I guess, as far as, and I do like that they give him his own shuttle and he can go do his own thing and, do what he wants to do at the end. But
where's he going to go?
Well, I don't, but didn't they send him to a specific place? Like, here, why don't you go to this planet?
He's like a retiree driving an RV is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, he'll land somewhere. Maybe he'll find a beach and some margaritas or, I don't know.
I mean, I just want to know. I just want to like a spinoff series.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
One thing about that episode, relative, was a couple of things about character traits. I was a little surprised how Geordie was written in an episode because he was uncharacteristically mean to Scotty. And actually, and given, I hate to say this wasn't life-threatening. He was life-saving. He was making a survey. So if he was a little behind on the survey, Picard wasn't going to freak out. And Frank, for him to talk to that guy, to talk to Scotty like that, that almost feels like a contrived plot moment to make an emotional thing, because that just didn't come off like Geordie. But the other thing on the flip side, once again, you want to talk about a great actor, the gentleness and the care that Patrick Stewart took to just talk to him. That scene where he talks about how the Stargazer was always threatening to fly apart at the seams, and yet there are some days he would give anything. What a beautiful scene that was with those two people.
It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
And, having Scotty back was a big banner moment for the show, but almost equally, the recreation of the original series bridge set was just as much a banner moment for them. I think it got a lot of press for that. And I gotta say, I loved seeing that set again, and seeing Scotty and Picard interacting on it was amazing.
Yeah.
I agree, Alan, because one thing the original series did that no one ever did ever again, and I mean ever, is the background noise. If you remember the original series, it's not just it's not just the chirps and the equipment. If you remember the original series, especially in the first season, there was always somebody talking on the comm system in the background. Always. You could hear this stuff. You could hear people talking all the time. And to what you're saying, Alan, they had a hard time getting the sounds back as well, because those sounds hadn't been used. And not to mention, they're 1960s sounds.
Yeah.
And they did a phenomenal job with that bridge. And I love that moment where Scotty was just looking around. And then my heart was actually broken when he kind of felt like he was just an old man. So I loved it when Picard came in there to talk to him.
Yeah.
No bloody A, B, C, or D.
I love it.
That is great.
I love that moment.
Yeah.
One of the things that I absolutely love about season 6 is that I feel like they're at a point now where they have done all the Star Trek. They have been as Star Trek as they can be. And in season 6, they really start to do a lot of different kind of storytelling. They start to like break out of the mold, out of the Star Trek mold that they're in. Not that they were necessarily in a mold, but I feel like they took a lot of risks this year. And one of those, and I don't think it's one of the ones that's very well thought of, but schisms, which I think is so interesting, because in a show about exploring the universe and meeting aliens, you don't expect to get an alien abduction episode like you would get from, like a show set in 1947 Roswell, for instance. And I find that really an interesting angle for a next gen episode.
Is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the one where one of the crewmen had an arm removed and reattached?
That was Worf. That was Worf. Yeah.
That is creepy body horror. That's some.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And one of the poor dudes whose name we never hear again. Remember, they turned his lungs to where he couldn't breathe air, and he died. Yeah, it's funny you said that, Alan. I loved that episode. And I think it's Brendan Braga who was the horror aficionado. So anytime in the Berman era, when you see a horror themed show, it's almost always Brendan Braga because he loved the old Universal monster movies and stuff. And I agree, Alan, that's a good episode. And the scene when they recreate that table, I mean, it's science fiction, but that's I've seen that in 1930s movies. I've seen it in 1940s where everybody shares a shared trauma, and the way the camera was coming in on them, and then the little click, click, click. And I love the scene when was it Worf who freaks out at the barber because great stuff.
It really is. It's a surprising episode.
And Alan,
do you remember much about that one, Elaine?
Yeah, I was gonna say I wrote a question mark on that one because I'm like, what did I fall? I really don't have any memories of that one whatsoever.
That's the one with those, and they almost do fish-like creatures, and they were like Alan said something very interesting about the show. It doesn't matter how far the ship was traveling because it was traveling through space. Since they were coming from another dimension, they were able to just get the Enterprise. It's the one where they were abducting people and then in their sleep at night and experimenting on them and returning them. And they find out later those people have been doing that to them.
So Elaine, you don't remember it probably because the aliens have erased your memory of it.
Maybe. and when you say fish-like aliens, I'm thinking of the one that Mick Fleetwood plays. My brain goes to that. I don't. You say fish alien, I go there. I don't.
Mick Fleetwood is the best fish alien in all of Star Trek. I mean, if you're going to have Mick Fleetwood on your show, don't put him under all that. I mean, that guy's weird enough as it is. You don't need to dress him up like a fish.
And I agree, Alan. That's one of those episodes I can always sit down and just really enjoy that. It's just well done.
Yeah. So tell us about some of the other ones that stand out for you.
Well, a lot of the second Q episode gets a lot of praise, but I think the first one, True Q, is pretty worthy, pretty good Q episode as well.
Okay.
Of course, I was the right age to really like Olivia Dabo, but
I was gonna say,
but not
she's the very first Dabo girl.
Elaine,
you'll get that reference very soon.
Yeah. I don't remember from the Wonder Years. I remember from Conan the Destroyer is what I remember.
Wonder Years.
But no, it's an interesting take of like, okay, a human. Oh, not a human. Excuse me. A Q had been raised as a human and starts to manifest the powers, and is a danger because this girl hasn't been trained as a Q.
Yeah. And
that scene where Q is like communicating with his higher ups that we may not have to kill her. That's a pretty chilling moment, and it also begs the question: is just omnipotency can be dangerous. And the whole individual rights versus the rights of the collective, which is a recurring theme in Next Generation. I think that explores it pretty well.
Yeah. And most of these episodes I haven't rewatched in a long time. And I was upon my memory, I was thinking that Tapestry was the better Q episode than
it is definitely Q. Tapestry is better. I'm not saying it's better than Tapestry, but I'm just bringing it up because we're in the earlier season. But I don't want this one to get overlooked. I think it's a pretty good Q episode.
Yeah, I just don't remember liking it as much, but I will definitely rewatch it and see if my opinion has changed.
It's actually one of my least favorite of the season. I don't dislike it. It doesn't do much for me. One of the things you mentioned, Matt, I find very interesting. This is one of those weird things. Our Q, John Delancey Q, goes around the galaxy effing with people all the time. She can't save a planet with a moon unless she swears fealty to the continuum. It's real weird how it is. It's like Q says, "I'm one of you," and then he can go around and monkey with the entire galaxy universe. They don't care. She can't say, "I don't want to be part of you," but maybe do one little beneficial thing. They're like, "Well, if you're gonna do that, we're gonna kill you. You got to swear fealty to." It's really weird. Yeah. It's just really strange. And there is one interesting scene which she did, which is she changed Will Riker's being, his personality, to try to make him fall in love with her. And man, that's some stuff right there. Now that kind of temptation, that's messed up right there.
It is. Yeah.
Believe it or not, we're already halfway through the episode.
Wow. Oh my God! I guess we got to give a chain of command.
Let's go ahead and take a quick break. And then we will jump into Chain of Command when we get back, because the That's a hell of an episode right there. So here we go. We're going to play this. Okay. Chain of Command.
I was dancing to the music.
Chain of Command. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I am not. This is considered one of the all-time greats, and I'm not going to hate on it here. But it's always I've always associated it with a bit of a turn in my Star Trek fandom for the negative. In that time, it was a time when I started to become a little weary of Star Trek. I didn't care for the character of Jellicoe. The big dramatic moments in the second half with Picard being under torture didn't, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of grief from y'all. It didn't feel authentic to me.
Wow.
I recognize that it's important, and I'm certainly do not intend to yuck somebody else's yum, but the two-parter doesn't do it for me. And I think, honestly, an opinion of season 6 kind of teeters on whether, since it's kind of the center of it, it's kind of like the centerpiece of it. It kind of opinions of season 6 kind of hinges on whether you like that two-parter right in the middle of the season.
Okay, Elaine, this is your first time seeing it, right? So
yes, it is.
How did it hit you?
Well, I already knew about, like the memes and whatever there are for lights. I already knew about that. And so, because that's out there. And I wrote notes because I do remember thinking part 1, like, I didn't like Captain Jellicoe. I wasn't super fond of him. He was a little too strict, and I wasn't super fond of his style, but I was intrigued by the undercover mission that they were going on with Picard and everything. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, undercover mission, kind of like a little bit like the one where Spock came in, like the previous season when they went to go see Spock with the Romulans and stuff like that. Kind of like, trying to figure out what's going on with the Kardashian. The second part, with all him being tortured and everything, was hard to watch. Yeah. Because, but as I was thinking about it today, and thinking about how much Picard has been through these 6 seasons, like all the psychological trauma, like becoming a Borg, living a whole life and dying in the one I can never remember the name of.
The Inner Light.
Yeah, Inner Light, and just all this stuff he's been through. I guess that's in a way to understand why he was so on the verge of cracking, like not making it through all the torture, because he's already been through so much. His brain, you know. Because I always used to tease when we watched Enterprise that Archer got beat up every episode, but it was a physical thing. You heal from your bruises, you go on. But mentally, Picard's been through a lot these 6 seasons. And so I could see why he was about to lose it. But it was still kind of hard to watch because you're not used to him being
vulnerable.
That vulnerable. That,
Well, Matt, I got Michael Phillips here who takes a little different approach to this one than you did. He says that Chain of Command is the classic story of this season, and in this case, I see 5 stars, not 4.
Well, and I certainly can see, because that is the general feeling amongst fandom that this is one of the all-time classics, and I'm not going to debate because opinions ultimately are opinions. It's just for some reason it never did it for me, and I want to really love it. I really do, but
You're not obligated. It's okay.
Yeah. Let me ask a question, because I find this happens a lot with stuff. There's not loving it and actively kind of disliking it. Is it a matter of you like it, it's just not fantastic to you, which is, a different thing? Or is there something that you don't like?
There are specific elements of it I do actively dislike. The character of Captain Jellicoe.
Okay.
Honestly, the acting when he's saying there are 4 lives at the end in Defiance. There is, and that's mainly it. And I am projecting a little bit of my growing tired with Star Trek at that time on it, which is not fair to the episodes, and I fully admit that. So, yeah, I mean, it's generally an okay episode, but those 2 elements, and Captain Jellicoe is kind of the centerpiece, especially of the first part of this.
Yeah.
I've worked for people who were do as I say, without. I do understand military. That's the way it's supposed to be. This is like a good example of what military is supposed to be. But I don't think that's good leadership. I don't think that inspires people to work for you when you dictate to everybody. You dictate style. You kind of impose your sense of decorum on everybody else and demand a uniformity. I've worked for people like that. I've actively disliked people I've worked for that way. And again, that's why I actively dislike the character of Jellicoe.
Interesting.
I love Jellicoe, mainly because I like seeing that new element introduced to the show and seeing how the crew reacts to a commander that they're not used to, who has a drastically different style.
Right.
And they are treated for a change like this is a military organization. And they're not used to that, and they have to, adjust or not.
Alan, I agree. And here's what's funny. I've listened to so many people. Jellicoe is as big a discussion point as Tuvix in the Star Trek franchise. Nothing's
as big as Tuvix.
And here's one of the things you have to look really far and wide to find anybody who dislikes people like Jellicoe more than I have. I do. That kind of person I just won't take. However, this is so weird for me to say this. Riker was also in the wrong more than once here. Because I had a director like that relatively recent in my life. Couldn't stand the human being. However, when he gave Riker an order and he wanted to implement it, when Riker then goes, well, I was going to tell you about it later. Okay, that should have happened sooner. Yep. And right or wrong, how he felt about Picard, yelling at his commanding officer in front of other people, that's out of line, Will. So now, and also, this is weird. I have worked with people like that where I can't stand their style, but at the same time get it done. And I hate to say it like that, because some of the things Jellicoe was saying was like with Deanna, when he told her to wear a standard uniform, he wasn't mean about it. And of course, in real life, Marina Sirtis was like, thank God.
Right.
She loved it. She was like, I was so sick by then of being the sex pot. I wanted a real uniform. And, as you know, Alan, I know, she said many times, when Deanna got a real uniform, her parts got more important. Her intelligence seemed to go up. And I find that very interesting. So I get what Will Riker was doing. He probably didn't handle it the best way. And other thing when I was reading about the episode, I found this so fascinating. David Warner, who of course plays Gul Madrid, was not the guy hired for the role. There was another actor. That other actor dropped out like 2 or 3 days before scene shooting started. So they had to write several of David Warner's lines on big signs around the set, and he was reading them. He didn't have time to memorize them.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's some good acting.
Talking about David Warner, though, he is an old school classic actor, just loaded with talent and presence. And I love elevates that episode higher than anybody else would have.
Absolutely. And I love the scene because it's realistic. When Gul Madrid slipped and he tells Picard about the time when he was a little boy. And then Picard goes, I will always now just see you as that hungry little boy. And he gets madder and madder. And then he says, Picard, he said, you call me Picard, not human. And after that, even if he had tortured him to death, Picard had won.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I know I'm rambling on, but there's one thing about this show that I've noted is fascinating. And Elaine, you have to go back to when this was first aired, when this was brand new for people like me and Alan. At that time, no captain in Starfleet history, other than the guest of the week, had been broken. Kirk had never been broken, ever, not fully.
Mm.
Picard was broken. That didn't happen for the star. At the end of the show, he tells Deanna, I saw the number of lights he told me to. Picard had been broken.
Yeah.
Kirk was never broken. That was major back then. I mean, major. And I remember that was
Kirk also only had 3 seasons. Had he had 6, he might have been broken by that point.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I don't think so.
No,
And
of course he wouldn't.
And I also love the relationship between him and Deanna because he just gestures to her. And also,
Yes.
Deanna was Deanna there. She was listening to him and talking.
She's a counselor.
Absolutely. And sometimes you don't get to see her do that like I wanted. And she
Right.
was this counselor. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful scene and episode.
Okay, I got some comments I got to get to. Michael says David Warner is one of those actors who is great in everything.
Hey, man.
And Wayne says, you're absolutely right, Matt. It's all about leadership by example. Do as I do. Now, having said that, Jellicoe, though a bit stern, was perfectly fine. You're right, Keith. Riker was out of line.
And for those who don't know, Wayne is a Marine.
Yeah.
And Wayne taught me that Wayne taught me that once a Marine, always a Marine. And I am very curious about that because Jellicoe sets my teeth on edge, but at the same time, Riker didn't handle it well. And maybe that's because the ship was much more casual in how the ship ran. You know, if you need 4 shifts, then I'll get those 4 shifts done. Then after it's like, Captain, can we talk? That's how you do it. But you know, Deanna, he was also right with Deanna. It's style because he was like, look, we may be going into not just a shooting battle. We may start a war. And he didn't say it right, but he's like, I don't have time. I don't have time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Okay. I want to transition to another episode that is one of my all-time favorites in all of Star Trek.
Wow.
And since we're talking about Deanna and getting better roles once she changed uniforms, let's talk about Face of the Enemy, because I can talk about that episode every damn week and talk, and because I love it so much. Elaine, I want to get your reaction to it since this is your first time seeing it.
I do remember when it first started, like when you open up with the episode and it's Deanna, but she is a Romulan. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did I miss something? What happened? Okay. And she doesn't know what happened either. Like she wakes up and she's like me going, wait a minute, where am I? Why am I Romulan? What happened? And so she's got to figure it out just like we do.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see. But then I also really loved how she stepped up to being like once the Romulan who was in on everything, I can't remember her name, and told her Nivek clued her into what was going on and was like, you're gonna have to act like this. She did. I mean, she may be a little bitty tiny thing, but she was like, you will listen to me because I am, and she,
I'll kill you, please.
Yeah, I will not mess with you, because she pulled that off.
Yeah, she did.
But that moment where Nivek is like, okay, we're gonna transition here because this ain't working, and she's like, you know what, buddy, and she gets him just like a Tal Shiar would treat him.
Yeah,
and I was like,
you're right, Alan. He was freaking out because she went off.
Yes.
And he was like, okay.
He's like, you have kidnapped me, you have altered me. Now here's what we're gonna do because I'm in charge. I was like, damn it. And I've told this story a few times before, and I hate repeating stories so many times, but I heard an interview years and years and years ago with Terry Farrell, who said that there would never have been characters like Kira and Dax had Gates and Marina not fought so hard to get better roles on Next Gen, to not be submissive ones, to not be just the caretakers, but to have significant meaty action roles.
Yeah.
And I also think it helps that the showrunners on Deep Space Nine were maybe a little more favorable to strong female characters than but that's a whole nother subject.
Well, true. True.
Carolyn Seymour, who played the Romulan commander, is a wonderful actress.
Oh, yeah.
God, I love her so much.
Yeah. She was also the Romulan commander in Contagion, the episode with the with the Iconian gates, not the Iconian gates, with the probe. Yeah, the probe.
Mhm.
And she was, of course, the scientist in First Contact. Remember the episode when that planet was about to go into warp? And she was the scientist who ultimately stayed on the Enterprise because the leader of the planet decided the planet wasn't ready to go into warp yet. She's a really, I love her presence.
Yes, but she played like a governess or something in a Voyager episode, like in a holodeck situation. No role that she ever played was as great as this episode.
Oh yeah, she's good.
Is phenomenal in this episode.
Something else they also did, and I think I said when I was responding to one of your guys watching, I was saying, even now after all these years, I still don't feel the Romulans have been handled properly. That's me personally. But I love a little insight because you get a little of this, no spoilers, you get a little bit of this in the Cardassians and Deep Space Nine. I love this tension between the military and the basically the CIA or the intelligence agency.
Yes.
The Tal Shiar. Hers like, oh, the Tal Shiar.
Yes.
I love it.
We're going to move on in just a second, but going back to Chain of Command, Wayne says that he and Keith are going to have to get together to talk about leadership styles. So, Wayne, you'll be interested to know that we are planning to do a whole episode about command styles in Star Trek.
Yes.
Not comparing one captain to another, but just talking about the difference in leadership styles that we see in the show.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that one a lot.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's a whole bunch of different admirals that have different.
Yeah.
Like you have admirals and captains and okay, go ahead, son.
And Michael Burnham.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And one last thing about Face of the Enemy, then tie it to the one with the timescape. Alan, what you said about Deanna Troi. Another thing is, we know Marina Sirtis loved this episode, Face of the Enemy, because she got something to do. Of course. And she got to stretch. It is also where she got to learn about how Romulan engines are powered by singularities. And of course, as you know, she didn't talk about that later on. Marina Sirtis loved that stuff. She's like, they're giving me something to do. I'm sounding intelligent. She loved this episode for that.
Sure. Of course.
And that came into play in one of the last episodes of the season too, where they had everything was suspended in time.
Timescape.
You were on a Romulan ship. You might help us figure out what's going on here.
Yes.
Yes.
She loved it. She talks about it to this day.
All right, we got to move on because we're getting close to the end, and there's still a lot to talk about. So we've got some other episodes: Birthright, Starship Mine, Lessons, The Chase. Which you didn't like any of those?
No. It's just I'm so mean to talk about it, and I'm going on about how few good episodes they are, and I'm looking through the list. I'm like, dang, we didn't talk about Rascals. We skipped Rascals. How do we skip Rascals?
No, the only thing I wanted to mention about Rascals was I really loved the kid who played young Picard.
Yeah,
I thought he did a great job of being young Picard. That was he was really good. But
yeah, that
very
was
nice.
That was a fun, silly throwaway episode.
It's kind of a shame when you get so few Ensign Row episodes that the one that we get this season is played by a little kid.
I agree.
You know, but still, it's such a fun episode. And as I've mentioned on the show before, the original story that was developed into the script was written by Diana Drew Botsford, who was a 2-time guest at Timegate. Because she wrote a lot of Stargate novels.
Okay.
Okay.
That's pretty nice.
I find Lessons to be super boring. I don't know about y'all.
I agree. I completely agree. I barely remember it.
Yeah.
I remember it better than some of the others because we just kind of watched that one not that long ago. But especially coming after Starship Mine, where Picard is like stuck on the ship and he's like all by himself trying to keep himself alive and defend the Enterprise and get rid of the other aliens, and then now he's busy falling in love with a space
stellar cartographer.
Something like that. And she has to. They can only be in love if they're apart, basically, because it's too dangerous to be together.
We must invent HR on the 24th century Enterprise. Apparently, there has not been any kind of regulations concerning relationships with one of your subordinates. But
what's funny because what you guys are saying is the show is you don't love the show, and I kind of agree that overall I don't love it. But I got to tell you, I love Patrick Stewart. I love the actress whose name's escaped me. I know she passed on a few years ago. I think they are a wonderful looking couple. I love their energy together. I love them as a couple. I just don't think it was the best episode in a lot of ways.
Right. No, I get that. I get it, especially after like the action-packed Starship Mine. And then, I was going to say the one that comes after it.
The Chase.
I wrote must have been drowsy because I don't remember a whole lot about that one.
That's the one that kind of sets up that plot line in the last season of Discovery, where you have the lady who later plays the shapeshifter, but now she's just a weird alien who seeds the galaxy, and that's why all humanoid life looks similar.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of remember thinking at the beginning of the episode, it's kind of like Indiana Jones because he was an archaeologist, but then I don't.
Yeah, I don't really care for that one. Lessons just leaves me cold. Yeah, it does nothing for me. Not bad. I just Alan pointed it out. The only episode in this season I honestly say I dislike and don't ever want to watch again is Aquiel.
I had forgotten it. That was one of 3 episodes I pointed out during our watch through that I had almost zero memory of.
Oh, sure.
Aquiel, the one with the exocomp. And I had forgotten that one. And there was one toward the end there I sort of had forgotten too. I think it was Suspicions. Yeah, Suspicions I had forgotten most of.
Oh, that one was, I liked Suspicion. That was Dr. Crusher. Like she was like
medical coroner.
Yeah, that one was a good one.
I mean, she didn't get a lot this season, I don't think. So it's nice that we have that one really key Crusher episode.
Yeah.
Our buddy Bill says Lessons is one of this year's Inktober drawing prompts. And so far he's stumped. Any ideas? Yeah, draw a flute.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, that's literally the only interesting part of that episode. And I mean, even that's not. I was like,
the jam session.
I like. With the flute and the thing
and the keyboard.
The little folk rolled out keyboard that had a full sound and piano sound. Yeah.
I think I'm the outlier here because I actually really do like Lessons. I think because I like to see Picard. I like to see Picard acting more like a human. It is problematic though, especially at the end when the lady and the junior officer says, "I'll transfer off the flagship because this relationship doesn't work." That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks.
Totally. Okay. We got to move on because we are running really late. Talking about being an outlier, I think I might be the only one of the 3 of us that really loves Frame of Mind.
Yeah, I don't like that episode.
I love it.
But Alan, it freaks me out. It's like a scream in my head every time I watch it. And when I finish it, I'm jangled. If I had hair, it would look like Rikers. It makes me so uneasy. Yeah. Maybe that's the point.
I think as far as like somebody breaking down and going, I think I enjoy Frame of Mind better than Picard's breakdown in Chain of Command because
sacrilege.
No, it just, and also because it's all self-contained. It really is pretty much like a Riker show. It's just him. I mean, I know there's other characters in it, but it's one that I think will grow on me because I will still think about it because it was just so weird and jarring that it kind of
if you like weird
sticks with me.
If you like weird and jarring, just wait till we get to season 7. There's some weird and jarring stuff that season. Yeah.
Well, one thing also based on what Alan said, and I posted in you guys in your Facebook group when you were watching it, is John Frakes said that was an incredibly difficult episode. It tested him in every way possible. He loved it, but he was like, I was wrung out doing that episode.
Oh, I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
Okay, we got just a couple of minutes, and I want to get to the finale. Descent Part 1, which this is kind of a weird one. This is not your typical season ending. And, I guess we kind of got an atypical season ender the previous year as well. But this one is a little different. So what's your impressions of the way that season 6 wraps up with that episode?
I am not liking the Sons of Soong thing, and I hate that Laura has corrupted Data, and Data's better. I mean, I can't say Data's better than that. Data's too good to do that, and so I hate that Laura has corrupted him and made him do what Data would not do if he had not been messed with.
Yeah.
And so I don't like it because I don't think it's right. But I liked the poker game at the beginning in the holodeck when he was playing with Stephen Hawking and Einstein and Isaac Newton. I thought that was hysterical. But then it was weird seeing the Borg be not Borg. It like, pardon the Doctor Who reference, seeing Daleks with feelings is weird.
Well,
you know, I mean,
just wait till you get to Voyager. There's a lot of Borg episodes where they're not really Borg.
Well, I mean, but like there was the one that was like human, like he was cataloging. I'm like, wait, you're no, it was kind of weird, and so I just
to me it felt. And this is kind of looking at it back after the movies. It felt like they were previewing the style of Trek, a Next Generation we would get in the Next Generation movies. The action, the faster pace action, the sort of playing Data's emotion for the factor. Instead of really taking a deep look at it, it felt like it was played for laughs a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's to me that's a little bit of what I think of when I think of the movies.
I will say though that the fight scene with the Borg, like where and they're Riker and Data, and they're like battling all the Borg on that ship. That wasn't a very cool scene. It was definitely different. And then I had another thought, and it went somewhere else. But for me, I just didn't like that last little 30-second end where Data comes out and it's the Sons of Soong. I'm just kind of like
Sons of Soong. I'm going to start a metal band called that. And if I remember, I've not seen it in a long time, but if I remember rightly, there's a lot of location filming to it, which gives it a bigger scale. It does make it feel more filmic.
Yeah.
I think we get more of that in part 2 though than we did in part 1.
That probably is where I'm remembering it.
Yeah.
I don't love it, and I think one of the things we'll talk about contrived. It feels contrived that they take the chief medical officer and put it in charge of the ship because they got to fight a threat. When you empty your crew, your ship of everybody in the chain of command, no pun intended, to go do a foot search on the planet, I get it. But you need, in the original series, that's why somebody like Sulu or at least Scotty would still be in charge. Beverly is a competent officer. She's not a combat officer. That's a bad mistake to put the chief medical officer in charge. Yeah. And I agree with you, Elaine. We've talked about this so many times, haven't we, Alan? My God, the appearance of Lore and then later on Soong adjacent, it gets a little old. So it's not bad. And no spoilers at all, Elaine and Matt, but I'm still not quite sure exactly what Lore did to Data. Because there's one thing that makes somebody angry. It's another thing to turn them into a murderer or would-be murderer. I still kind of don't get that manipulation. But honestly, I don't care enough about the episode to really dive in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of season 6. And you would think that you guys are going to be jumping into season 7 next, but that's not your plan.
Oh, what's up?
No. We're going to watch season 1 of Deep Space Nine next.
Oh,
because it started during season 6 of Next Gen.
So we will have a bit of a cliffhanger length of time.
Yeah, you will.
Before we get to it. And I honestly am not on the edge of my seat at all. So this is not the best of both worlds cliffhanger or even redemption.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Completely
That's
agree.
so true.
Oh, we can't wait for that.
Oh, Elaine, I can't wait till you guys come on again because that means we get to do a whole episode about Deep Space Nine. And oh gosh, love it.
I know everybody's excited for that because everybody loves DS9. So
yes.
I hope Elaine, it will break my heart if Elaine doesn't love this show.
I know.
I liked Enterprise, so I'm gonna pretty much like any Star Trek you throw at me. If that's true,
but Deep Space Nine is a very different animal from all the others. But once you get into it, man, what a ride!
So much fun.
Especially the last 4 seasons, but even more especially the last 2 seasons. Holy cow, are they good.
And Elaine, of course, not to jump over there, of course, that Avery Brooks is not quite Avery Brooks like he's going to be until later. He's got hair. So
Yeah.
just hang on.
He's missing a pip.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's going to get it.
How unusual it is to, well, we'll talk about this later, but
Yeah.
to start your season off with a commander and not a captain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, but we'll save that for the next time you two are on. Thank you both so very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It's always great to see you, and it's always great to get into these deep talks about our legacy seasons, and can't wait till we do it again next time. So Elaine, tell us a little bit about where else people can find you.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook and Blue Sky at Elaine and Matt Watch TV, where I chronicle what we're watching on TV. And if we are watching Star Trek episodes, we are live commenting as we are watching it. You are free on Facebook. You are free to come tell us your opinions as well. Then also you can find me and Chuck and Veronica on Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkey.
You did the hand thing. Perfect. Podcast about the monkey.
And we are on Facebook and Blue Sky, and I think we're on Instagram, but we never post there.
Right. Matt, can you add something to that?
No. I am busy. I have got a job that's like sucking up so much more of my time. It pays better. It's I really want to get back into more fan stuff. So I have some ideas. Me and Elaine in particular want to talk to you, Alan, about one idea we have for something or another.
Okay.
I'm intrigued. Ooh, okay. Keith, how about you?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups. And I want to thank Matt and Elaine because they watched the buttload of episodes in the last week to be here tonight.
That is so true. That's why the last part of the season is fresh in their mind, because they literally watch one a night.
Yeah.
Oh, gal. Okay. And you can find me on cosmiccreative.com, KOZMIC creative.com. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thanks for the people who watched and I didn't mean to hit that. Who watched and commented. We will be back next week with our review of Strange New Worlds Season 3. We're going to be doing an overall wrap up of that season and talk about what we might want to see in Season 4. And we'll be going into more legacy topics beyond that. So if anybody watching or listening has a suggestion for a topic they would love to see us cover, let us know. We would love to do that. You can email us at earthstationtrek@gmail.com, or you can comment on our Facebook group, or anywhere you see our episode posted, leave a comment and we will get to it. All right. Yeah. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you again next Thursday night at 8 p.m. And until then, keep trekking.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.